Good evening, you're watching this Mongolian World. I'm your host, Amir Batar. And for top stories, Mongolian economy will grow by 2.5% in 2022 as by World Bank economic update. 6 months since Mongolia introduced EVisa System. And Japanese Foreign Minister Yoshimasa Hayashi to visit Mongolia at the end of April. And for other news, stay tuned. On April 19th, the World Bank in Mongolia introduced its 2022 Mongolian economic update. According to the report, after a strong initial rebound, Mongolia's economic recovery stalled in the last 3 quarters of 2021, and the growth outlook for 2022 is expected to remain modest.
Following a contraction of 4.4% in 2020 and 1.4% growth in 2021, the World Bank's latest Mongolian economic updates projects that the economy will grow by 2.5% in 2022, reflecting lingering border lockdown issues and the impact of the war in Ukraine. Despite continued policy support and higher commodity prices, economic growth is dragged down by protracted trade disruptions and logistical bottlenecks amid border closures. Headline inflation rose sharply to 14.4% year-on-year by March 2022, weighing down real incomes and household consumptions. The war in Ukraine amplified external risks, resulting in increased demand for foreign exchange and further erosion of international reserves, according to the report. The report notes that the main drivers of growth included recovery in the service sector and a short-lived rebound of the mining sector in Q1 of 2021. On the demand side, domestic investments were the key driver of the growth, underpinned by substantial buildup of mineral inventories. However, private consumption contracted by 4% in 2021, despite the government's stimulus program. The report also notes that disruptions in bilateral trade with China in 2021 hampered mining exports and the import of vital inputs for domestic production. Over the medium term, the report projects economic growth to accelerate to above 6% in 2023-2024, as the underground mining phase of Mongolia's largest copper mine, Oyu is expected to become operational during the second half of 2023. The headline budget deficit nonetheless narrowed to 3.1% of GDP, with one-off tax arrears collection and the financing of the child money program through the Future Heritage Fund, which weakened the fiscal framework and long-term sustainability. The report highlights that monetary policy needs to return to a credible inflation anchor, raise interest rates further, curtail quasi-fiscal activity, and allow the exchange rate to absorb adverse external shocks. Fiscal consolidation is necessary to stabilize debt and ensure external and public debt sustainability. Importantly, fiscal measures that better target the poor can help contain fiscal imbalances and sustain support for the most vulnerable households. The report also notes the need for structural reforms, including measures to reduce trade and transport costs, facilitating foreign investments, and promoting domestic entrepreneurship that would help strengthen growth in the medium term.
It's been already 6 months since Mongolia introduced the EVisa system at evisa.mn on October 1st of 2021. Citizens of 36 foreign countries, including 32 European countries, Australia, New Zealand, the Republic of Korea and the People's Republic of China, which are leading in terms of the number of tourists visiting Mongolia, can apply for 3 categories of visas valid up to 30 days using the online service and get their visas within 20 to 72 hours.
Mongolia's EVisa system was jointly approved by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Minister of Justice and Home Affairs, officially registered with the International Civil Aviation Organization, and introduced to foreign countries through diplomatic channels. Since the introduction of the EVisa system, 656 foreigners have applied for e-visas as per April 15th of 2022. Most of these visas were applied by citizens of South Korea, France, and the United Kingdom.
On
December 2020, the law on legal status of foreign citizens was amended. Thanks to the recent amendment and modifications, several changes were made in regards to facilitating passenger flows and towards improving Mongolian visa service so that it gets close to international visa standards.
Систем 2021 оны 10-р сарын 1-ний өдрөөс
шийдвэрлэв. Ажлын 3 хоног буюу
Due to the recovery of the Mongolian tourism sector and the approaching tourist season, the number of people applying for visas online has doubled in recent months compared to February. In the future, Ministry of Foreign Affairs is planning to work to increase the number of countries that can obtain visas online and the category of travel visas. The introduction of the EVisa system has achieved significant results in many ways, such as facilitating travel, developing the tourism sector, bringing visa issuance in line with international standards, providing public services without delay, transitioning to e-governance, and saving costs.
Now let's take a look at Mongolia's current affairs.
The Foreign Minister of Japan, Yoshimasa Hayashi, is planning to visit Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan starting in late April. Tokyo also plans to host a meeting of foreign ministers from 5 countries in the region, also involving Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan, by the end of June to discuss measures to enhance their economic relations, the sources said. During the tour, Foreign Minister Hayashi is also considering stopping in Mongolia, where he would meet his Mongolian counterpart Patsitsik and other officials to seek support in resolving the human trafficking issues, notably North Korea's past abductions of Japanese nationals, the sources said. Mongolia maintains diplomatic ties with over 190 countries of the world, including North Korea. This year also marks the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Mongolia and Japan.
Here's the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Here's the weather forecast of world's major cities. Well, that's all for today, and thank you for staying with us. We will see you tomorrow with more news and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.